Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday morning real estate marketing show with Ruthie Rocks, Ruth Allbrand, and Marketing Max. Today is episode 66, and we have a tremendous special guest today. Her name is Chelsea Pites. She is the national director of social sales for Fidelity National Financial. She also runs a YouTube channel. You can find her at Chelsea Pites, and also hosts a podcast called The Voice of Social Sales. That is a hard combination of words to say.
We're going to be enunciating.
Yes, I should have practiced that way more before the show.
Right? We're doing all these little acting things to get ready today.
Right, exactly right. But one of my favorite facts about Chelsea is she shared the stage with one of our favorite personalities, Mr. Gary Vaynerchuk, last year at Agent 2021. So probably want to have you talk a little bit about that a little bit later on your experience with him and his, and spending some time with him and how you even got onto the stage with him and invited to speak on the stage. So before we get into the exciting life of Chelsea, Ruth, let's talk about what's happening in Vegas right now.
Okay, well, 10,000 people are leaving California, and 4,000 of them are coming to Vegas every month. And that's a shout out to the real estate agents to go where the puck is going and start doing your Facebook ads and your boosting to people in California so that you can increase your business and get a piece of that pie. And it's just amazing to me how many agents need to start branding. And one of the beautiful things I love about Chelsea is that she has done, I know your podcast is fantastic about branding, and I would really, really reach out to everybody to listen to that podcast. What's the name of it, Chelsea?
It's called The Voice of Social Sales.
Right. And it just steps you right through all the things that you need to do, the 5 E's. And the agents need to get out there and brand themselves, get in front of the people, because our market right now, I think 900 transactions this year were done by Zillow and Open Door and some other iBuyer platforms. And that's 300 deals a month that real estate agents in Las Vegas are not getting paid for. And that's because you're not out in front of the people. That's all you have to do is give value, right, Chelsea?
Value, and then more value. Yes.
More value. That's right.
In my class this week, which I had a fantastic social media class, 12 hours, and I had them do little videos, 30-second videos, giving fun facts about Las Vegas. Like if you're in outer space, the only city that you can see is Las Vegas because of all the lights. And having them introduce themselves with a fun fact, just to get them warmed up and see how easy it is to do 15, 30-second videos, and how to introduce themselves to the clients they get from Facebook when they get their phone numbers and their email addresses and they can direct message people with video, and how they can say, hey, this is Ruth Allbrand. I'm so happy you reached out to me for my relocation guide. Please let me know if I can text you, email you, or call you. Look forward to working with you. I mean, it's that simple. And so we had everybody practice that, because the more we do that, the less the iBuyer platforms are going to take our business. And that's about it for the stats on the market today. I'm just trying to push the agents out there to realize that Zillow and those other iBuyer platforms are in our market big time.
Yep. And whoever provides the most value will get the most attention.
And the other thing, I'm sorry, I saw the stat that $71 billion in commissions are paid to real estate agents in the country. And that's what they're after, is our commission. 71 billion is a big number.
Yeah. With a B, capital B.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So Chelsea, let's roll the show over to you. Let's start at a point in time first, and then I want to go back a little bit with your background. But let's talk about how you got in with Gary Vaynerchuk at Agent 2021, how you were able to share the stage with him.
Oh my goodness. Well, first I have to just say, I've got a few mentors that in my mind, I believe I actually know. I'm sure they have no idea who I am, but You can't see behind me, but I've got Gary's books behind me.
Yeah.
Gary and Seth Godin are sort of like my two marketing gurus. And what I like about both of them is that sometimes they're polar opposite on marketing thoughts and ideas. And I like that because they both make me think. And I think somebody that can inspire you to think about things in a different way is super valuable to me. And that's what I love. So I've been listening to Gary for years, and it's been on my bucket list to somehow speak at an event where he was at. And so I've got, looking at my vision board right in front of me, I do one every single year.
Fantastic.
And I'm on there, and I said, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be speaking with him. And I reached out to their team, and they did an interview with me. And I have to say, not that, Gary might be watching this, but if he is, shout out to his team. I have put together hundreds of events. I have attended thousands of events. And his team is so on point and professional. They recognized someone's voice that I was actually standing next to and called them by name and said, "Oh, you're so-and-so. Let me help you check in." And they were like, wow. I mean, you talk about delighting people.
Right,
oh
right.
My goodness. Like, it was amazing. So I was super honored. It was absolutely a bucket list of mine. And I can say that truly meeting one of your heroes, you could be disappointed when you meet that person.
Yes, you can.
And I was not disappointed. I mean, I was not disappointed. What I appreciated is he took time for every single person. He remembers people, like truly, like if he has seen you somewhere, he remembers you. And it's giving me chills, like thinking about it truly, because that's the mark of somebody who actually cares. And maybe he has a really good memory and that's just something he has.
Right.
But really does. I mean, he has his people dragging him away, and he's trying to be like, no, let me stop and, connect with these people. So it was amazing. It was really great.
No, that's fantastic to hear that, you weren't disappointed when meeting him. And that's the one thing about Gary Vaynerchuk is he's one of the very, I can't even tell, like few people, big personalities that what you see is actually who he is. And this is not a show. This is not him doing a shtick, but it's actually who he is. And it's pretty fantastic. So that is so great. So how did you get your start on this path down this social media kind of branding aspect that you're going on right now?
Yeah, so I've been in real estate just in general for over 20 years. Can't believe that. But I started in real estate. I was a licensed agent. I did real estate for over 10 years. I had my license for 18. I just let it go this last year. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do the 40 CE credit hours anymore. But I started in real estate, and by way of, I had a really great life lesson, and I was young and I lost everything. I was working for a company who moved me to a different state, and I actually uncovered that the person who owned the company was embezzling everyone's money.
Wow.
And we had no money. There were 7 of us that they took all of our salaries for the entire year, and we were stranded in another state where we didn't know anyone. So I came back to my hometown here in Arizona, and I'm like, well, while I'm sitting here looking for another job, I'll just get my real estate license. Never thought I would go into it. And then when I got it, I said, well, I'll apply to some, home builders. Never thought I would get a job. Got one. And then, rode a real estate wave here for a decade. And then, when the crash happened, it was really tough because we were hit real hard, just like Las Vegas was hit really hard. And it was hard for me to sit across people that were losing their home and saying, what should I do with my kids? I'm losing my home and I don't know what to do. And I lost all of my homes. moved back in with my mother-in-law, who I moved in when I lost all the jobs in the first place. So thank God for mother-in-law. So I learned some really good lessons. And so now I'm in the other side of it, in the title world. And it's been amazing because I still get to be around the industry that I love so much. And I have a passion for teaching. One of my, superhero powers is being able to take really complex ideas and break them down to be really easily understood and applied, because that's just how my brain works. I'd go to these conferences and they're like, you've got to be authentic. You've got to create valuable content. You're like what? Like, how? And they're like, you got to do Facebook ads. How? Like, where's the step-by-step? And I of like wanting to sign up for the $5,000 course, which I'm all about people making their money. But that's why I love Gary, is he just gives it all away. And people say to me all the time, why are you giving this away? Because nobody's going to do it half the time, and it builds your brain.
Right, exactly.
2%.
Yeah. So I just started doing it naturally, and then it went to a small class, and I was doing CE classes, and I was, teaching on stages, and it just went from there. So it was really my passion for wanting to help people and my frustration that I couldn't find in one place how to do all the things. And I really wanted to build that. So I said, well, I'm just going to build it. So I did, and then I shared it with everyone. So that's how I got where I'm at now.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I was telling Ruth before this, like you're doing the long game right now. You're maybe not monetizing the back end of it yet, but I can tell you, if you don't have to, and you can play the long game, at one point or another, you can turn the switch and you'll already have a built-in platform and audience to do that with. And Gary's doing that right now. You're kind of seeing it, right? The four, what he calls the four.
4Ds.
Yeah, the 4Ds, right? He's doing that, and he's doing a bunch of other stuff. He's monetizing, but the great thing about Gary is he's good in putting out so much value,
right,
like you said. So that is awesome. And I actually watched your like a good 30 minutes of your show with Mr.
Travis.
Travis Tom, right?
Oh, yeah. Wow. That was a brain melter.
But you do a fantastic job of like bringing, like you said, like bringing your part of your superheroes, bringing back something very complex and then breaking it down to something that everybody can understand logically.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So,
because it doesn't help you. If you can't apply it, you're like, okay, well, great. I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly right.
Chelsea, it was interesting because on the last day of my class, I teach lead gen Facebook ads and show them how you can circle the pin with the drop pin and things that they need to learn how to do. And we used to do it differently, of course, because we had the demographics and we could actually do income levels, and we knew that those people could afford homes and things like that. So that Travis has really got his hand on the pulse of what's going on. And I really appreciated that you brought him on. And so I learned from him, and that's how it goes, as you know, right? We keep learning from those people that and bring it into our industry to help the realtors across the country.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let me get your opinion on this kind of thought, Chelsea. Right? I think information is now a commodity. Like, it's readily available. Like Gary said, you can Google anything. You can get a college education right now by Googling everything you need to know.
Right.
So I think the benefit, and I've been telling Ruth this for years now, is that to use social information, use value creation and content building to actually drive people to an event, because what is more valuable now is helping people execute, right? The execution part is what is going to bring produce results. It's not learning information. And so I love what Ruth's doing, building the academy. I don't know what are you doing on the background to drive people to maybe to a live event to help them execute? Are you doing anything of that nature?
That is a really interesting idea. So I love that what you said. Information is a commodity. When I tell people about creating content, I'm like, if you really want the good content, it's got to be stuff that's either hard to Google or you can't Google. So hard to Google meaning, yes, Gary's right. I could spend 28 straight hours, like until my eyes bleed, looking at how to do Facebook ads. But if there was one place that had it all in one easy to understand video or easy to understand thing, guide, ebook, whatever, that's valuable. I'll take that all day long. I mean, even if you're talking about real estate and moving to another state, I'm a mom. I need to know where the pediatric dentists are, the ophthalmologist, because my kid wears glasses. Like, that sounds really boring and unsexy, but if you had that all in one place, I could Google all day long and find that, but I don't want to.
Exactly.
So Chelsea, have you looked at our website that we developed? You need to look at, and that's what we did.
Yes.
We've got over 55 videos. We've got over 700 pages of information about Las Vegas, and we've got blogs, and now we do daily blogs, which aren't really daily, but a couple times a week. And we just continue to give value so that the real estate agents that have our website can share that information with the people that they are trying to attract and get attention. And it just works. It works all the time.
Right, exactly. So that's the hard to Google. And the can't Google is, I mean, some obvious things like, if you have off-market properties or some, market stats. But let's be honest, you can't Google what it's like to be in your life. So start talking about it, right?
Exactly.
Start showing the relatable side. So those things are super valuable. And then the events and the live in-person meetings, man, you cannot replace the networking value, right? We go to conferences all the time, all of us do. And let's be honest, sometimes the conference is good. Maybe one speaker is awesome, but the networking, I wouldn't be talking here today if I didn't meet Ruth in person, totally unexpectedly, and was like, hey, and we shared a car, and I'm like, hey, oh my gosh, I love you. You're my people. And finding that, and having an event where we can get together and really meet people, that is amazing, because then you've got a human network across the United States that you can tap into at any time.
You know what I loved about getting back to Gary Vaynerchuk, the Agent 2021, and I went last year and this year, is he brought people together, and instead of, let's say, a title company or a mortgage company or a franchise, like Remax or Coldwell, he himself, who is not associated, at all, he brought everybody together in the platform, and the way he did it. And I know you'll agree with this, was just, it was out of the box. I mean, everybody commingled without feeling threatened.
Right. Yeah, and I met people like, I'm not in the auto industry, but you know what? I still, to this day, talk to 2 or 3 people a day on Instagram stories that are in that industry that I met from that, event. So it was awesome. I mean, where do I ever meet, amazing people that are business owners and, marketers that are in that industry that I certainly could, connect with. And it was amazing. We still talk on Instagram.
Yeah, we shared so much with so many, and freely. No, I don't think anybody was worried about sharing their secrets with each other, which was it was just a great vibe that was there, and a great interaction.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. The secret is there is no secrets anymore. It's whoever executes the fastest and the most efficiently is the one that wins the game.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about these 5 tenets. I mean, one of your biggest focuses on helping build personal brands. Here's a tagline. If you haven't, I'm sure you've written this down somewhere, but on one of your YouTube videos, you were being interviewed and they asked you what you do. Chelsea, and you said, you teach people how to use the cameras on their phone to build a powerful personal brand. So walk us through that a little bit, and these 5 tenets of branding, if you would.
Yeah. So, I, again, got sick of people talking about brand and giving me examples of like Coca-Cola or Zappos. So I'm not Zappos, and I don't have, 2 people that know how to do all this. So can you, water it down for an individual? And, what exactly, I want a formula. I want to see it and make a formula and all of that and know the steps. And so what I did was I started breaking that down. And there are a couple of things that you have to do in order to build a powerful personal brand. The first 2 important things that I see very, very few people actually doing is identifying their niche and then identifying what I call the UVP, or the unique value proposition. Now, I know people, especially in real estate, are afraid to niche down because they're like, oh, but then if I niche down to, just baby boomers who are downsizing, or first-time home buyers, or millennial people looking for urban condos, there won't be enough business and I'll miss out. And you cannot say in mortgage or real estate that your clients or anyone looking to buy or sell a house, that is never going to work for you, okay? If you don't niche down and know specifically, have a picture in your mind, like name the person, what they look like. Like for me, my demo is moms who are in real estate, #real-estate-mom, who are, working, have kids under 10, 35 to 45. That just happens to be my tribe. And guess what? Right here.
Right.
So I have a very specific, audience that I attract, but because of that, once you niche down, you can then expand out, but you have to master the niche first. And then what happens is when you know who you're talking to, creating content becomes a whole lot easier, because you can say, well, okay, if my, If my demographic is baby boomers downsizing, I'm not going to write articles or go maybe look at urban living that's a high rise with the average, homeowner who's 22, 33, okay? That has, a hot tub on the top of the roof with a DJ. That may or may not be their lifestyle. So that's the easy part, right? So you get that. Then you have your UVP, which you just stated it. Thank you so much. Is I teach people how to use the camera on their smartphones to build a powerful personal brand. If you have to practice it, say it again and again and again and again. And it's the hardest thing you're ever going to have to do is figure out what your unique value proposition is, because 1, we don't like to talk about ourselves. 2, we start to wonder, well, what does set me apart? I kind of do the same thing every other real estate agent does, don't I? And so that becomes a really hard thing to overcome. Once you come up with something, it will evolve and refine over time. So those are the 2 foundations. Once you have that, we look at the what we control, what we don't control. And what we control is the content and the context. That's where my 5 E's come in. And I'll tell you that in a second. Okay. And we also can control the distribution and the reach. And that's really through the build phase of being consistent, how you're delivering it, how you're showing up. And then you have the growth phase, which is the frequency, and that's how you accelerate. And the last 2 things that we do not control, but we can leverage, is algorithms and perception. So that, in a nutshell, is how to build a powerful personal brand. Obviously, there's stuff in there, but I needed a formula and a map to start. So my 5 E's of content, I personally believe if it does not fall within these 5 E's, don't even post it or share it, because it's not going to get any engagement. You're going to be like, I'm posting every day, but like 1 person is liking it and happens to be the person in the office, right? So it's about these 5 E's, and this applies to writing, videos, stories on Instagram, podcasting. The first E is educational. Become the resource. Obviously, this exact example of what we're doing right now, you are the resource. Then it's entertaining. And I don't mean you have to be funny, haha. I mean, you could literally just be yourself. I show a lot of my son, which is a personal choice. I know some people would rather not show family, but that is entertaining to a certain variety of people, and they enjoy watching me interact with him. Then we have engaging. And what I mean by engaging is simply ask a question. Where's the best place to have sushi in Las Vegas? 300 people giving their opinion, right? What's the next Netflix series? Whoa, watch out. You're going to break Facebook because everybody's going to come at you, right? And then you have emotional. And again, I don't mean you have to get on live video and cry. What I mean is celebrate with people. Celebrate your anniversaries, your birthdays, that 5K you've been training for, document it. And when you get to the end and you've got your victory pose and you post it on Facebook, people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you, right? And then the last one is exclusive. And this is one that trips people up too. Because again, you hear exclusive and you think, my life is boring. I'm not a celebrity. I don't have any pocket listings. How could I possibly do something that's exclusive or behind the scenes? Y'all, your life is exclusive. Nobody gets to come home to my house every night with me. So that can also be exclusive. So those are my 5 E's. That's the content. And that's how you also create context around that content as well, which is how you make what you're saying mean something to the heads and the hearts of the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask a question. I want to take a step back here before I forget it. Is your unique selling proposition? You called it USP, right?
UVP, unique value proposition.
Unique value proposition. How many iterations did you have before you came up finally with that UVP? Yeah.
You know what? I'll tell you. They always say brevity is so hard. It really is. It needs to be brief, not only because you're more impactful when you're brief, but also because of the socials, right? Your headlines, all that.
Right.
It took me about a year. I started here and then kind of added things, and I still, iterate. I have different value propositions that I've used. And so you've got to give yourself a break, because you have to start somewhere. And as you start saying it more, another word will come in, you'll refine it. A lot of people will tell you what your brand is. Oh, you're the person who talks about social media all the time, or you're camera first all the time. And so that's really what it is. But here's a formula, you guys. I do what, for whom, that results in. I do what, for whom, that results in. So when you look at mine, I teach real estate professionals, or I teach people. So I'm teaching. I picked that word on purpose. You got to look at the words. Teaching. I want to be seen as an educator, a resource. I teach people. So that's what I'm doing. How to use the camera on their smartphone. Guess what? Now you know it's a camera and you're going to be doing video. Smartphone. Y'all have one. No excuse.
Right.
Again, I'm picking those words specifically. And what's going to happen? They're going to build a powerful personal brand. So all right there, I've hit all those things. So write it down. I do what, for whom, that results in, and start there and just start using it, start saying it. You can't hide it. You got to get on the videos. You got to tell people this is what I do, because if you tell them, they will believe it. If it's true or not, it's right?
Fantastic. No, that's a great formula. I'm gonna go back and rewatch this video and write that down, because I'm looking to build something right now as well.
Okay.
And one of the biggest blocks you always have is like overcoming what you just said, like niching down one and knowing what they call your ideal customer or prospect's avatar, with all the demographic details. And then there's something always in the back of our voices like, oh, are we narrowing down too much and we cannot reach? But you're absolutely right. Without narrowing down, you won't be able to build a very concise marketing message, right? And then once you automate it, and I was telling Ruth this last week, the reason why Facebook actually overcame MySpace, because MySpace was the first to be the social network. I mean, by far.
Yeah.
But what Tom, one of the co-founders, said that was the reason Mark won was because he got so good at just the college kids. Right. So good at it. And then he expanded and got really good at the next niche, and then expanded and then went globally. And he couldn't compete because he was still, he started so broad. He was the first to market and won the race in the beginning, but he did not know and had the same like niched vision that Zuckerberg had. So
Exactly.
some great stuff. Do you know a guy named Frank Kern?
I feel like maybe I know the name, but I don't know. I don't think I know him personally.
So you would like Frank Kern because a lot of stuff that you're talking about, he has been an internet marketer for like 15 years now. And he talks about the 3 E's. He calls it 3 E's. And I shared this with Ruth like 3 years ago when we first got together and kind of started talking about marketing and social. And the 3 E's are included in your 5: education, entertainment, and then engagement. So you have to have those elements. And so you're right. Entertainment is subjective to everybody, right? I think if you just be yourself, if you're just a natural klutz, just be a natural.
That is so funny because Pinky of Pinky Knows Naples, every time we get together and we go to do a video, I crack her up because I am a klutz when it comes to it, but I don't care. I do it anyway. And so I always tell everybody, you just have to uncomfortable becomes comfortable with practice and action. And even if I'm a klutz, I'm a comfortable klutz.
There's an element of endearment that people have, when they don't see the way marketing has definitely changed with social media is we don't bring into our lives this like perfect image anymore, because we know that's not real anymore. And what social media and marketing has evolved to is now really just looking at the authentic person and the real life scenario, because that's we can engage and associate with that versus Coca-Cola. Build a brand like Coca-Cola. Great. How do I do that?
Would love to, but not sure if I can do that on my own.
We're all personal media companies now.
Yeah.
About ourselves.
Yeah.
All right. So we went over the 5 E's, and you mentioned something else. Talk us a little bit. We're going to get to nerd talk here in the algorithms and stuff like that. But if you had to like say, 1 or 2 things that, would be pertinent to the community right now in the real estate game, with what's happening with Facebook and all the other kind of marketing engines right now, what would those 1 or 2 things be?
Yeah, we can sort of, like I said, leverage those 2 things somewhat out of our control: algorithms and perception. And perception is, I get a lot of people that say, I don't like watching live videos. I don't like watching other people's live videos. Why would I do one? And I'm like, who cares if people watch your live video? They see your face. You're a billboard on the highway. The more billboards you have on that highway when they're passing by, the better. Guess what? They're looking at your face on that postcard as they're throwing it away in the trash. It's this thing, right? So again, I just feel like people have this perception because I don't like something, it's not worth doing. And, I get you don't want to force yourself to do something you hate, but with perception, you want people to open up those socials and they want to feel like you're everywhere. I get people that say, oh my gosh, I feel like I see you everywhere. And I'm like, well, I want you to, but I'm not everywhere. I'm not on social media all the time, but I want you to feel like I am. And I've also trained up the algorithms so that I do get more reach as well. So for Facebook, well, really anywhere, the algorithms are all about talking right now. So as much as I love content, I'm not saying to stop making content. I'm saying how about a little less contenting and a little more commenting, because that is what is really triggering these algorithms. So if you can create content that gets comments and you're replying to those people, then that will go farther. If you guys are putting up pictures of open houses and listings and nobody's liking it or commenting on it, guess what? The rest of your stuff for the next week or two also not going to get shown. I'd rather have people go less often and higher quality, better stuff that's actually got people talking than checking off a list every day. Oh, made my post today. Great. 2 people liked it. Made my post today. Well, nobody liked it, but I made my post. Just even if you go once a week, I don't post stuff unless I have something good to say, because I don't want to screw up my algorithm. Like I want it to be where, people are getting reach, because it's real hard to get reach on social media. So that's why I kind of look at those 5 E's and then decide, well, do I really have something to say today? But it's really about talking to people. And guess what? It's your responsibility to talk to people. People will not talk to you unless you start talking to them. So don't be like, well, I post stuff all the time and nobody engages. Right. How often are you engaging with other people?
So, Chelsea, I tell the students that I teach, they need to do 5 shares, 5 comments, and 5 likes to their sphere every day and engage with them. And that's 5,475 engagements every year. And it takes like 10 minutes. But they have to give value and show people who they are so that people know, like, and trust them. And to your point too, they have to start talking about things that are important to someone. And it's amazing. My husband, John, just had a transaction, I was saying a couple weeks ago, and the roof was deteriorating. And I said, John, if he's not in social media, if you can figure that out. Anyway, tell the story, because that's really something in that community. Evidently, there was a construction defect that people are going to relate to and comment on and engage with you. And he says, well, you can do it for me. No, John. But anyway, that's the type of thing that, like you're saying, Chelsea, things that are important to people so that they engage with you. And then you have to engage back.
You can let your comments be your content. I mean, I get it. If you're phobic and you're like, I cannot do pictures of myself. I can't do selfies. I can't do video. You can still show value by being like the #1 fan, super fan commenter. And you're still building brand because your face and name are showing up. But you guys too, the more, like exactly what you said, I love it, Ruth, sharing, liking, commenting. When you trigger multiple things within a platform, it says, oh, well, we like Ruth because she's one of the heavy users on the platform. We're going to reward her a little bit, right?
Right.
Versus going in and scrolling, they're like, they were just a scroller. So you guys still, like little things like that, where you're hitting the buttons and doing things and using all the bells and whistles, it shows that platform like you have a higher value in that platform, and they're more likely to show your stuff out and reward you. And the more that I talk to Ruth, the more they think we're friends. And they're like, well, maybe let's show more of Chelsea's stuff. Right. So this is how you work the algorithm and train it up.
And I love that you include Mason. Mason is adorable. I love him. And the recent Instagram, was it on Instagram that he was talking about Instagram, about the platforms? I mean, that was adorable. And I'm sure you got a lot of engagement from that.
Yeah, I definitely think, as you know, dogs and kids are always the way to go.
Right.
Yes, I don't have kids, but I do have dogs.
Adorable puppy, yes.
So where are you spending where are you putting the most effort into which platform right now? Because Gary just posted like something last week where he spent 82% on Instagram, right? So where are you focused on, building content right now?
Instagram. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm loving it. I love stories is my thing. That's my jam. So whether it's on, whatever platform has stories, I love that format, and it's just my favorite thing. So stories for me, specifically Instagram stories, not as, Facebook hasn't caught on as much with the stories, but I still use that. but Instagram is my favorite right now.
And how, this is a question that you know probably a lot of people ask, is like, well, how do you distinguish what to post on your timeline, right, or versus what you're going to post on your stories?
Yes, that is a good question too. I'm in testing mode, so I'm testing a whole bunch of things, and again, like I just advised you, I'm re-strategizing. You know, I'm looking at, you know, my content before used to be all marketing all the time. Then I got more, you know, sort of personal. And now I think I'm going to be splitting up because I'm doing growth mode. And I want to drive people to my Instagram and my IGTV. And I want them to find the tips they're looking for, because that's really what my brand is. So I'm actually doing personal in the stories. And then I'm doing much more tips, marketing tips and tricks specifically about Instagram in that platform, because I figure if people are on Instagram, they're interested. And
right. In Instagram, right.
Yeah. So I'm putting more in the feed. What I'm doing is I'm doing IGTVs, and I'm doing them 1 minute preview, because you can now preview and they'll take 1 minute and pop it into the feed, which will get more views. And then I'm putting a cover photo on top of that, so that when you look at it, it looks like a picture. And if you're one of those people, which I am not, that is focused on what their grid looks like and it's all pretty and all that jazz, it doesn't screw up your feed or your grid. So that's what I'm really doing there. And really, it's a hashtag game. Getting your hashtag game on point, making sure that, you know, you're getting all of those in your posts. It's a little bit different in IGTV, but like your regular photos. That's what will help. You know, I find I still grow more from the posts in the feed, even though I don't love the feed. I'm like, you know, obsessed with stories, but I find when I post in the feed, I get more people that connect with me through those posts in the feed. So that's what my strategy is right now. And if I was in, you know, real estate full time, I would make my strategy educating about, you know, the neighborhood, the community, and real estate. You know, just like our friend you mentioned, Ruth Pinky, does an amazing job of that. Yes. And so, you know, you got to stay in your track. I just, you know, talked to Chris Smith, who wrote the conversion code. He's not about family in the feed. He's all about what he calls legacy. He's business, 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 business. And that's great. You can build brand with human relatable. You can build brand with business, business, business. You just pick one and you have to sort of go with it.
Right, right. You know, one thing that I've been testing out too is going into the pages of people that have the audience that I'm trying to reach, right? And then looking at the comments, the top commenters, because one thing bad about Instagram is you get a lot of like bot follows and like you know, people just doing marketing stuff and not necessarily your followers. And so what I've done recently is going into the different pages that have my audience where they're hanging out, and then reading their comments, and then re-commenting back on their comments, because then they're like, who's this guy? Or, you know, they'll go back to your profile. Right. So I'm in testing mode right there. But I think that the key part is this engagement part that Gary talks about a little bit, and he kind of skipped over with the $1.82 a day thing. But I think that's the trick, because then now you're engaging with real people too, not just the non-engaged followers.
And the whole problem is this stuff takes time and work. I try to engage and go back, and I have really built my following organically. I haven't done anything I see people, you know, going off the charts to reach that 10,000 follower mark, but I've really done it intentionally, because I feel like I'm playing the long game, and I want people that are truly interested in me. I don't want just marketers.
Right. And you're right, because you're going deep, not wide, which is what exactly I do too. I'd rather have 200 really deep people that you say do something and they go and do it without it. Right. But what, you know, people don't realize is the stories piece of it. This is the first time ever. I mean, Snapchat did this, but, you know, they ripped off Snapchat for everything anyway. But this is the first time, and people are doing this. This is the first time that you can see who's watching your stuff. You don't see who sees your Facebook post unless they comment or like it.
Right.
You don't have to say a word to you in your stories. So a simple way to go deep with your community is see who's watching and go watch their stuff. In fact, on Instagram, when you swipe up to see who's watched your story, guess what? You can actually message them from there. You don't even have to go anywhere. So that is number one, what you should be doing to build community and brand is seeing who's watching your stuff. And yes, you're not going to grow as fast as if you go out and do the $1.80, like we're out there and commenting, which is also, valid and valuable too. I do that. But it's like building that like 1 or 2 people, and guess what? Send them a voice message. Like actually talk to them. Don't just like heart up their comment or whatever. Thank people for watching your story and, actually give them a message. Does it take time? Yeah, I spent 4 hours doing that one time.
Right.
But it's one of the best things I could have ever done.
Yeah, and your results show. I look at some of your posts and you have a lot of engagement, Chelsea. I mean, so obviously it's working, and engaging your community. I forgot the name of the brand, but she used to work for Victoria's Secret, one of the branding marketing managers, and she branched off because she didn't agree with the vision, the vision of Victoria's Secret anymore, which is like the angel, more appealing to the male, dominant like view of women. And she created this other brand, but how she did it was she engaged her audience to help her, she would poll them and ask them questions and then get their feedback. And then she would start implementing their feedback. And so that community felt like they were building this business with her. Yeah. Right. And we always tend to forget to do that, because we're always so focused on the push marketing side of what we do.
People feel like if they ask what people want, then people might think that they don't know what they're doing.
Right.
And they might feel, oh, I can't ask because people are, if I want to be the expert, I should know the answer. So, but you'd be surprised. Asking people what they want, asking for feedback is one thing. That can be pretty scary. Asking people what they would like to see, you don't have to worry about feeling like somebody's going to attack you if you're sensitive, like we don't like what you're putting out. Asking it a different way, but don't panic. People are going to think you don't know what you're talking about when you're asking them their opinion. Imagine asking consumers what they want. Crazy.
Right. Well, the biggest brand, I mean, Facebook does it on the background, right? Because it can observe what we're doing, so they have a distinct advantage. But the companies that know their customers and the evolution of what their customers are doing win and stay in the long game. So and the ones that don't die, like Blockbuster.
Yes.
Right.
Piece my Blockbuster card. I loved going there every Friday.
Right. So what's next for you here? I mean, what's on the horizon for you, Chelsea?
Yeah, so I'm actually I'm writing my second book, just getting my proposals out there. It is going to be on what we talked about, personal branding. I have a very specific niche audience, not a niche industry, but a very specific niche audience.
Sure.
That needs to hear that message. So I'm, currently looking for a publisher and doing a lot of speaking and traveling. As far as, the world of social, I'm going kind of deeper into voice. I've got the podcast and I'm really exploring. I've launched my, wait, is she on? No, my Alexa. I don't want Alexa to go off.
Right.
Flash briefing, which by the way, guys, I know a lot of people are kind of like, okay, Alexa flash briefings, who cares? But you guys remember, 12 years ago, we were like, there's this thing called Facebook, and people were like, who cares? And look what happened. Wouldn't you all want to be on there? And now Google just came out and said voice is going to be searchable. So again, start enunciating, because they're going to start searching all these, audio words with SEO. And so I'm really focused on that. Just signed up for their voice webinar and conference and all that. So I'm really thinking about I don't know what we're going to do with it, but I feel like if you get into it and figure it out along the way, we'll be ahead of the game.
Who's having that conference?
It actually, Alexa. I wish I had the website, but they have a free online, webinar, virtual conference where you can go, kind of like, Facebook does F8 and they stream their stuff. So if you go to Alexa, probably just Google it, Alexa voice something, and it's a and I think it's just a few hours. You can sign up and learn all about it.
Yeah. Have you done have you programmed your Alexa yet to answer questions?
You know what? I know Mason has at some point. He's always talking to Alexa in there, asking her questions, playing games, and all of that good stuff. Yeah.
So I programmed my Alexa, and I gave. We went away, and I had a dog sitter and a house sitter. So I gave him a list of questions like, "What time do I feed Maggie and Rocky?" And Alexa would answer. So you can program Alexa, to answer specific questions, and that was a lot of fun, and it is easy.
I love it. Yeah. And I know it can be a little intimidating. So again, because I was intimidated, I did a 22-minute video on YouTube, like how to do it, because I was like, this is not, I don't speak developer. Don't know what's here. Someone help me.
Right.
But it's fun too.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Amazon hasn't created Alexa for the mobile phone, right?
An article just came out yesterday where they have their own version of AirPods now. So it's coming. So they're now,
okay.
You know, I think they're probably their only competitor is Apple, just like Facebook.
Right.
Only two competitors are YouTube and Apple only because of iMessage, because they want to be the messaging platform. So now you've got Amazon going after Apple too. I would not be surprised if they have a phone.
Right. And that's the funny thing about Apple. I thought with Siri, you know, them coming up with Siri first, that they would dominate voice somehow and do search for voice. Because if you ask your iPhone right now to like search for certain things, the return is terrible. Like, no, I don't want to go to that website. Just give me the answer already. You know, so interesting stuff. I have to run. I don't know if Ruth told you, but 11:15. So I'm going to leave the show. Thank you so much for being on. I'll let you both get to it. Appreciate you. And I'm going to engage with you quite a bit here, Chelsea. Looking forward to getting to know you. All right. All right.
Thank you, Max. And I think, Chelsea, are you ready to wrap it up? And we can just all...
really, really fun. You know, obviously, I'd love anytime I get with you. And I'm glad that we were able to sort of talk about trends and branding and all of that, which I know you understand and teach so well. So just really excited to be here. Thanks for having me, for sure.
Oh, well, you're welcome. I just wanted to let you know that I'm building a platform for people like you and Pinky and me and even Gary V to have a one-stop shop for people to follow us in one place. And I've got Pinky on there already, and we're going to love to have you as well. What we've done is, and I can tell you offline too at another time when we have more time, but my point is so that, you know, we can go across the nation and tell all the real estate agents, go to this spot. You can see Chelsea, you can see Ruth, you can see this one, you can see, you know, Aaron Taylor, you know, whoever's going on, like, who's the fella that I can never, Fraser, what's his name? Just
Fraser, yes.
Yeah.
Jason Fraser, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we can just get more people, and then everybody's on one platform, and it's niched to real estate. Anyway, I'm working on that, and I'll be in touch with you later to see if you want to participate. I hope you will, because you've got so much to offer. And yeah, okay. Well, thank you so much, Chelsea, today, and I had a lot of fun this morning. Shouting out there to everybody to watch us. And I think I said your name wrong twice. I said Tycor instead of Fidelity. And I was just laughing at myself because I was so excited to have you on. And let's do it again. Thank you so much. I'm going to just like I told everybody in class, to follow you. So hopefully you'll get more followers. And we can help each other.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for all that you do for the community.
Thank you. You have a great weekend. And tell Mason I'm a fan. Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.